Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trust Me, Bro. My name is Ryan, with me is Yakuza, and this is the show that talks about the latest news, culture, and collects on the Lens protocol. Yakuza, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ryan. It's been a rather busy start of the week as usual, but yeah, I can't complain. What about you?
My friend, I wait for 2 days out of the year. 2 days. They are better than Christmas. They're better than birthdays. One happens in June and one happens in September. They are the Apple events.
Oh, we've got an Apple fan here. Yeah. So tell us.
The whole first hour, of course, is like all just the phone and watches and boring stuff. I just want to see the headset, which is happening now. So this was poor planning on my part, but I'm going to power through.
Cool. Let's celebrate that and let me know what are you drinking.
Why don't you go first? Because this is going to be brutal for me.
Okay, I kept exploring some beers here around. I live in the country that more beer in the world. Today, I've explored the neighborhood. So I'm drinking a Star Ramen. The brewery, it's just here like 10 minutes by metro. It's in my district of Prague. It's the second largest brewery in Czech Republic, and Staropramen was founded in 1869, and the brand name Staropramen literally means old spring. So just to that, what are you drinking?
This is a beer of shame. I'm a craft beer guy. I make fun of anyone who drinks like normal beer, even though I do like it. Stella is okay, but it's just not my favorite beer. And I fell victim to something this week. It's very shameful. That Vitalik hack. I was half asleep. I was half drunk. And a series of very unfortunate events happened within like 10 minutes. And I follow all the best practices. I have separate wallets. I have vaults. I have minting wallets. I have everything separated. And like I said, weird sets of coincidences within 10 minutes and being half drunk and half asleep. It was just not good. I connected. They took some Nike crypto kicks from me. And what I just wanted to make sure people know is we all know like best practices and like all the standard wallet safety stuff. But what I rarely hear people talk about is notifications. Like it takes 10 seconds to have like a wallet app on your phone, on your mobile device. Just set up alerts. You don't even have to put your seed phrase in there. Just make sure that it's watching a wallet and have the alerts on, because as soon as I connected and I thought that the website was like down or something was wrong with the website, not a hack. And instantly I saw my crypto kicks transferred out, and then I jumped into action. So that's just a very simple safety thing that I rarely hear people talk about, but you should absolutely have alerts on all of your wallets, even the hardware wallets. The instant activity happens on those wallets, you should know about it. And I get 3 alerts for every single wallet. And this did not fail me. You know, I knew instantly that I lost something and then was able to leap into action. Then the second thing about that is that's a very vulnerable moment when you realize that you've been hacked or scammed or phished or whatever. That is when you need to be the most vigilant, because the hack does not stop there. You can feel very vulnerable and just in a bad mental space. And that's when people can continue to attack you and trick you and pretend like you're your friend or whatever. And so I watched where my sneaker went. I was watching like all kinds of stuff, and I thought, someone's going to come at me. Someone's going to try and be my friend and try and get my confidence and maybe just give it back to me or whatever. And sure enough, 20 minutes later, someone's trying to get me, you know. Again, it doesn't end with this hack. It ends with 6 months from now or a year from now, when I think this nice person has sold it back to me for cheap, then they attack me other ways, right? It will continue for months, and you know, you'll have a target on your back for quite a while. And I've seen that in other areas in my digital life within the past few days. I've definitely seen some attacks coming. And so, yeah, just stay vigilant and make sure that, you know, after you lose something, after you've been hacked, that is when you need to have your guard up even stronger. So for that, I am drinking a Stella Artois, the most boring beer in the world to me. This is a punishment beer because I was very stupid, and I just, you know, I made it 6 years with a MetaMask. I made it. I've been in crypto since 2011. I've never been hacked. I've never fallen for anything. And so even worse than anything else, it's the shame. It's like, okay, I had a perfect
What should I
record.
say?
And now I'm joining
Yeah.
you with the,
I've lost
one of your,
two lens handles, one stupidly, and the second one was just some phishing attack. I'm really still trying to figure out what happened. And yeah, this Vitalik thing is just like, guys, just make sure that you keep your crypto and your Web3 footprint safe. And yeah, let's go to good news. Ryan, we've got a new guest today. I think I know him for probably almost 1 year. Nico, he launched the LensClubs.xyz. Basically, he will talk about it. I tried to do some experiments with the Lens Clubs when I was working for the Web3 Academy, because they've got some nice fancy features using Lens Clubs with the lens profile, but we'll let Nico explain. And he's going to drop a new alpha, so he's launching a new project.
I'm excited because I don't know him, but his reputation precedes him. I've got so many comments about, oh, what a great guest and what a great guy. So definitely excited to talk to him and meet him and pick his brain a little bit. What do you got coming up in the show?
I'm going to deep dive in some Buttrfly updates. Most of you already know them, but yeah, we wanted just to give a shout out to what Mo is building, and because of him, we are here in this space. Nader, PWA boilerplate for building apps and some other cool stuff that Nader is just dropping so everyone can simply build openly. I'm going to guide you through the Firefly app, which is a cool app that I found out recently. Of course, then we're going to announce the Trusted Talent winner for this week. Then we've got two interesting posts that we found out on Lens. One picked by Ryan, the other one picked by myself. Just some nice stuff to look into. Then hopefully Nico is already in-house, so let's see if he can join us to talk us through the projects that I've already mentioned. And yeah, we've got something new. We've got a giveaway announcement that I would like them to announce at the end of the show.
Interesting. I know nothing about this.
Of course you don't. It's a surprise, even for you.
Yeah, this is what I like. So yeah, some Trust Me Bro updates. Just to make sure everyone knows that, we're on LensTube, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we are now on Twitter, X, full podcasts.
We have our own website, so it's something that maybe could briefly explain.
Yeah, if you take any ENS name and then you put .limo at the end, it'll take you to like a decentralized website kind of. There's a service on there called NIMI. Basically, it's a service that will let you put your links, like a link tree, like a link in bio kind of thing. And, you just claim the profile, put all your links in there. And so there, for free, we just have this trustmebroShow.eth.limo, and all the links relevant to the show are there.
So basically, it's like a link tree, but is it on-chain or?
I don't think so. It's gasless transactions.
Okay.
I think I just paid once, like very minimal, like cents, like 10 cents or something. And then from there on is gasless transactions.
Okay. What else?
I was just going to say that, the podcast format that we're doing right now, the show format, I know some people are wondering, like, why are you on Buttrfly Spaces if you're not treating it like a space? And I just wanted to reiterate, like, from the first episode that the goal is to have a pillar show, but then I think everything's going to eventually branch off as we nail down these processes and fine tune the format. We are certainly planning on like game nights and many more spaces revolving around this show. So if you're thinking like, oh, well, this is weird, it's just a weird podcast that is broadcasting on a spaces with no interaction, we're planning on changing that. It's just it's going to take a little time to nail the format. So I just wanted to make sure people understand, like, this is not the final form yet. We are just beginning with this, and to expect many more spaces, hopefully with more interaction and different formats. And hopefully at some point, maybe other people taking the reins for certain things. So there are big plans, but we're trying to go slow, steady, figuring out the process here. So please bear with us. And we thank you all for being here.
Anyway, we've got feature drops. So on Saturday, it was tested with our friend James. So now you can have feature drops on Buttrfly. So mainly, if you want to have a feature drop, it's going to be displayed on the main Explorer screen, Buttrfly.land mobile app, and also now in the desktop version. So if you've got some high quality or bad collect posts that you want to highlight, I think the way to do it is to contact Mo and you'll figure it out. And maybe attached to that, you can book a space and go through what you're launching. And yeah, it's another feature and another way to give more exposure to creators and projects, making the posts collectible directly from the app. What Mo is doing by himself, it's sick, man. He is the really one-man show here. With all the respect for the team that is building Lenster, with all the respect for Knowledge and all the team building Orb, but Mo, as far as we know, is still one-man show. And look at what he's already developing. Of course, he's got some background support from Huddle.
Yeah, have you tried Huddle?
I went through what they're building, like to try to find out what's the background, but I haven't tried it yet.
Okay, yeah, I've tried it a little bit, and Huddle's great. Huddle does the audio for the spaces here, but they also have video and screen sharing, and it's like a Zoom call or like a Riverside call or whatever. It's the same thing. They also do video. So, I'm definitely looking at Huddle to expand what we can do live and all that.
They retweeted one of our tweets, and I've just challenged him. Okay, what about video? Because when we'll have video,
there.
we will not need to be involved in having a separate video call like we are having now. And yeah, let's push them. Let's keep pushing them. So next up, Nader keeps shipping how to build stuff.
This guy doesn't stop.
No, man.
He does not stop. And it's all like simple stuff for people to pick up. Like he's doing tons of hard work so that anyone can just, they can clone his app and just run with it. And so he started, I think we all saw the Friend Tech frenzy going on. And one of the big things about that was that they were this web app. It's not quite an app that you install from the App Store, but it is a web app, and it is a newer standard. And so since people were going crazy for that, he just created this boilerplate. It's called a PWA. And anybody who's looking to build a web app that needs to get around App Store rules, they can just go to GitHub and use this app. And then like he says, it's 7 lines of code to see your social graph in there. It's crazy how much he builds. He does this all the time. So, big props to Nader, but, I'm very excited to see some PWA apps that could handle things like transactions within the app and even just handling the wallet itself without having to connect to a Rainbow or a MetaMask wallet, whatever, and people can just install it and go. Super excited to see what people do with that. Next up, we have Firefly. You found this. I have no idea what Firefly is.
Firefly is an app developed by Mask Network that combines Web2 and Web3 to create a diverse social app. So how does it work? You can log in with Twitter and or Lens for now. They are planning to launch and integrate it also with Farcaster. So basically you're gonna see in your timeline what's happening on Lens, on Farcaster, or on X, or in all the apps that they will have, all the platforms that you'll have in this app. So it's the so-called crossfeed. So this will also show your profiles and timeline in all of them. It's what they call the decentralized identifier. You can also cross-post, so you can select to post directly from the app to each platform individually or to all of them at once. So you just select, I'm gonna post these to Twitter, to Lens, to Farcaster. Of course, now you've got like ChainJet and some other apps and AI stuff that you can do that. But having these at the distance of your hand, that you can simply do this with a Web 2.53 app, I think it's really going to help people to onboard to Web3. You can also synchronize your followers. So because you can log in with your Lens, so sign in with Ethereum and Twitter, you can synchronize your followers across all the platforms. So I'm just going through the features that they've got on their website. Yeah, you can check in some kind of stories feature, some drop alerts, the crypto charts, what's trending now on Twitter, like the most engaged posts, what's trending now on Lens, and what will be the trending posts on Forecaster. So basically, they've got some feature like we have seen with the Tea Party app that we have talked through in the last show or in the first one, I can't remember what. So incoming features, Mask Network, who is behind this app, they just partnered this week with Taco Protocol in Singapore in the Token 2049 event. So if you remember, I talked about Taco in the last show. It's about shifting from platform as a curator to user as a curator. So they are aiming to bridge the Web 2.5 users to Web 3. So you can install now also an extension on a laptop. So they've got a desktop version. So for me, it's like kind of Web 2 millet. Web 2 at the front with their own chain at the back. So they are also planning to set up some features like calendar, the trending like I already mentioned. So with these calendars, we'll be able to check Web3 events, set up meetings probably. And there's a new Web3 social app or protocol that it's called Nostr that they are going also to integrate in the near future. And I think this is what they are trying to build now during the Singapore event. Why do I think this is matter, and I want to bring this up? So I think it's important for the onboarding on Web3 and on-chain platforms. Like I mentioned, this is like some kind of Web 2.5 app where you can still be in Twitter, and most of us, we are still there. And on the same app, you just can switch, or you can still be within Web 3 and Web 2 apps at the same time. Yeah, Ryan, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, not only am I excited, but I've said this for a while. I'm shocked that wallet apps don't already do this. Like, wallet apps have your whole account. They have your whole wallet. And I'm shocked that like Rainbow hasn't turned into like an aggregator of all of your social media stuff, or that Coinbase wallet does that. I'm a little surprised. I'm excited to see that at least someone's trying to do this, because if everyone's on different networks, you know, it's going to make it hard. I think this is really good that if someone can aggregate it all and really bring everything together so that everybody still maintains their preferences. And like, I don't love Forecaster only because I feel like when I create content, I want that to be collectible and on-chain and usable data. And Forecaster doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't allow for that in the same way that Lens does. But I would still love to talk to people on Forecaster. So having an aggregator that would easily allow for that, and also integrate, I know Forecaster is doing like Zora mints, and they're focusing in a certain direction, and Nostr is in a completely different direction. So it'd be nice to have something that at least brings everything together and, you know, really helps us, because it's going to be really hard to fight Facebook and X, all the big guys, if we're all in completely different platforms and areas. This is sorely needed. So this is cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. Next up, we have Trusted Talent.
Week 3. Let's go straight to the winners. And yeah, once again, the winner was a post shared by Alice. And this one was one from a member called Strike. And the crazy thing, he won with 19 likes. There was a lot of likes across a lot of posts, so it was really tough this week. So this one from Strike, suggested by Alice, this member, he's got, or he or she, this profile, they've got 15 followers only, which is sick for the quality of art that he's able to produce. Yeah, so second place, another from Alice, Justin with 14 likes. So a post through Chromadin from RGB Dreams. It's some kind of also interesting art and collectible. And the third place, we had a post shielded by ChaoticMonk from NFT Sushi. 19 likes, 14 likes, 11 likes, and almost all the other posts were between 9, 7, 8, 6. So yeah, it's coming along. And I hope you guys will continue to help us to come up with the trusted talent for each week. I found just a nice post from a person called EmmaJane.eth, and then we went down the rabbit hole and we found some interesting stuff about this profile and the person behind it. Can you talk us through that, Ryan?
Yeah, I just thought that was funny because you said, hey, here's this great artist, here's this great follow. And I was like, yeah, no, I know. I just found them too recently. Emma Jane is the founder of Digital.ls and Chromadin and a whole bunch of other things that about 2 weeks ago, I started following the people that she was bringing on board. And there are so many good artists. It's ridiculous. And they have like 15 followers because they're all brand new to Lens. And AI art, it usually has a style. And these guys, I don't know how much AI is involved with not just Emma Jane, but the whole, like everybody over on Chromadin and everything. But they're using it so tastefully. I find myself collecting all the time. You know, I'm not fully aware of what the whole platform is. Like I see tons from her and I see 6 different apps or something. Like I just get overwhelmed.
So let me share what I found. Yeah. So her posts are not only about AI art, she's also sharing really nice posts about street art and fashion posts. And what I found out, yeah, as you already mentioned, she's the founder of Digital.ls and Chromadin. They are launching the next wave of Web3 fashion micro brands. So they basically are connecting Web3 with the commerce and IRL fulfillment. So what you can do with the platform, you can design, mint, collect, and then request to fulfill your prints or apparel. So it works like a print on demand, but it's on chain. So if you go either to Chromadin or to Digital.ls, you can make the design of clothes, dresses. They've got like models. You can cut like how do you want the shape of the t-shirt or a dress, because t-shirts are all the same shape, but mostly dresses for ladies. You can design, they put all together. They show you through an NFT how the design will look like. So it's like a 3D NFT. So you can then approve or ask to improve the model. And then when everything is okay, you can just simply collect it and you will just pay it, and then you'll get the apparel together with the NFT. So you'll get the NFT through your wallet, and then you'll get the apparel, whatever you design. It can be some simple t-shirt or just some business cards, whatever. You can then get them through your post. So business on demand. Next up,
I wanted to point out that Chaotic Monk had not just a striking photo. I picked it up immediately. But he apparently has a collection called 2962 meters, and I guess he climbed a mountain. It would be the height of that mountain. And so it's a great landscape shot. But then today he posted that he's got 2 galleries. One is Recurring Rhythms, and one is this mountain gallery. And I just encourage everybody to go check them out. It's over on Collectz. And it's so nice to see his collections with context, because it's obviously he's got great photography, but to just see one picture in the feed it doesn't do it justice. And, you know, Instagram has galleries for a reason, right? There's a grid for a reason. So I love seeing artists starting to really use galleries. Collectz makes it very easy. And yeah, definitely go check out his work over on Collectz. He's got the 2 galleries and just really striking work. If you're not following him, you definitely should be. Next up, we have Nico.
Nico, what's up? Hola, amigo, ¿cómo estás? I'm trying with all the guests that they've got a second language, or the main language is not English. I'm trying to practice my skills. Last week was a little bit of Italian, today Spanish. ¿Cómo estás, amigo?
In Berlin.
In
It's on
Berlin.
Berlin Blockchain Week.
Okay, let's move to English. So Nico, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself, and then we can jump into what the hell is Lens Clubs? Who is Nico Gallardo?
Yeah, totally. Nice to meet you guys. It's awesome to be here. I'm Nico, originally from Bolivia, but I am living in Europe right now. I've been building in Web3 for, between 1.5 years to 2 years now, and mostly around Web3 social. Started building, exploring Lens protocol, let's say 1.5 years ago, something like that. And we've been building ever since around that, like experimenting with collaborative dynamics with people on chain pretty much. And yeah, my background is more on in fintech and used to work at startup incubators and accelerators, but I found a place within the Ethereum ecosystem quite fast. How I got introduced and went down the rabbit hole was through hackathons. Like I had heard about them and I knew some people attending them, and I really wanted to dive into them, but I'm not a developer myself. When people started encouraging me to just go, then I attended the first one and tried to attend as many as possible. Almost couldn't go back to not going to any hackathon. Every time there's an opportunity, almost anywhere in the world, we try to go there. And yeah, that's briefly about me, I would say. Super excited to be here, guys, and tell you a little bit more about what we're building.
So tell us, what the hell is Lens Clubs?
Yeah, Lens Clubs came up, I would say, in around February or March this year when we were bouncing around some ideas around collaboration in Web3 social. We were focusing on Troo.ps Finance, which was like a way for people to collaborate on a DeFi portfolio with their friends. But then we quickly realized, I remember I was in ETH Denver asking people around, hey, why don't you use like Lens protocol for, I don't know, your protocol or for your community, stuff like that, because I'm quite good connected with a bunch of Web3 onboarding or like dev communities. And they were all like, yeah, we'd love to use it. They even had a profile, but they couldn't really use it because they either had to share private keys or transfer the profile NFT to use it. So we saw a big opportunity, like what we had been building before was going in the direction of actually multiple people posting on a shared Lens protocol profile. So we thought, okay, we have to build this. Like people actually need it a lot. So we developed Lens Clubs, and thanks to my co-founder, always likes to bring another technical edge to whatever that we're building. The possibility was not only to share a Lens protocol profile with other people, but he integrated very granular permissions inside the profiles. You could give, for example, someone the permission to only comment from a Lens protocol profile, while giving someone else like an admin role where they could do everything and stuff like that. This was especially useful, for example, for brands that, I don't know, they maybe hire a community manager, they only want them to comment on stuff or only repost, mirror stuff and these things. So that became quite handy. But like one of my favorite use cases for Lens Clubs is decentralized communication, right? We talk about DAOs, but DAO communication is still super centralized. We have a small group of people, or maybe even one person who controls the Twitter account or like the social media account. And I think it's time now that we're moving into Web3 social, decentralized social platforms, to also start decentralizing the way DAOs and decentralized communities, on-chain communities, how we like to call them, communicate on behalf of the community itself. And this is what we've built. We're gonna be launching V2 very soon together with Lens. Yeah, happy to tell you more about that in a bit.
Okay, I remember when you first talked, we went on some calls. By the time I was still working with Web3 Academy, and we wanted to have the chance to share the NFT profile so that myself and another member of the Web3 team could share the account. But by that time, and I don't know how it works now, the feature was that we would need to give the custody of the profile to Lens Clubs. And I was okay with that, to go ahead, okay, let's try it. And then Web3 Academy, they didn't want to do that. But yeah, this was somehow scaring people to move into Lens, mainly if they are running businesses or huge accounts that they don't want to like have their handle in a custody of someone else. So is this Lens Club V2 changing the game?
Yeah, totally. And maybe a little correction there, Yakuza. We're self-custody maxis. We would never take custody over the profile ourselves. What happened there was that the multi-sig that we built for Lens Clubs would be the one custodying the profile NFT, but we wouldn't really have access to it. It will all be controlled by whoever you decide is the admin of the multi-sig, whoever are the designers of the multi-sig. So just that little correction there. But aside from that, we understand how that's also a little bit of a concern for some people, right? Because I don't know, maybe the profile can get locked in there, or like our contracts were not audited at that time, although it was built on proven tech. that people could hack it in a way and extract the lens profile NFT. So a total legit concern about that. But as you say, LensClubs V2 is changing that game, and that's all thanks to V2. Lens V2 is going to allow for delegation. So you will be able to delegate your profile to the LensClubs multisig. And then on the LensClubs multisig, you will be able to give like the granular permissions to different people, as many as you want, really, and give like as many, like really a lot of different permissions that you can add. If you're not too technical, it gets limited to what we offer in the front end, but it unlocks a lot of things. And maybe we can dive deeper into that, because that's like what brought up the next product that we're building that's called Troo.ps. But yeah, we're super excited about LensClubs V2 and allowing people to collaborate on their lens profile on a deeper level without having to fear that the profile NFT is stuck in the multisig, but they can just delegate it to the contract of the multisig.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you clarified that, because we were trying to figure out how to do it, and we just did it the dumb, it's not insecure, but it's kind of insecure way of doing it.
Trust me, bro, way.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. There's a lot of trust involved. And your thing came up, and we were like, we don't want to lose custody of it. So I'm very glad that you clarified that. And I wanted to ask, like, how much of this are you building yourself, and how much is involved with Lens version 2? Because I know they are dealing with this delegation as well. Is it all your tech, or how much is involved from the Lens side?
The delegation side is really native on the Lens V2 contracts, but we showed the dev team LensClubs, and of course there was some back and forth and like some beautiful cross-pollination there of ideas and ways to do things. There's like the beautiful thing about it is that like the delegation is native of Lens V2, but we still add like this granularity to the permissions and to the collaboration on the profile. So you can use both in a way. Like you can, if you want to have like more limited functionality, you can still use the delegator. For example, if you want to keep your profile in your ledger, but still want to use your profile on desktop, for example, you can use the delegator. But if you want to, I don't know, work on a lens protocol profile with multiple people and be able to manage that in a deeper level, then you can use the combination, which maybe this is a bit early to say, but it's going to be, there's going to be something nice there for you to see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but there's going to be some nice synergies that you're going to see.
And probably this is a tool that will help us out, Ryan. Nico, if you want beta testers for LensClubs V2, you know who to reach out, yeah? So you are cooking something else. Troo.ps. What the hell is Troo.ps?
Yeah, and that's a little bit what I was telling you about. It's maybe, if you want, the evolution of LensClubs. So we found with some of the early adopters of LensClubs that people actually want to do a lot more as a collective on-chain. And it's not necessarily related to investing or sharing a pool of money, but like actually a lot of more interesting stuff like minting NFTs together or minting open editions together, doing, well, creating pretty much their collective identity on chain. There's this group of Argentinians who love like playing with Web3, ForkDAO, and they, for example, they coordinated one day to buy an NFT of one of the community members created for planting trees with the NFT. So like they coordinated and did this, and they posted it on Lens Protocol, on their shared Lens Protocol profile using LensClubs. They transferred the NFT to their multisig and so on. So we saw that there's actually a lot more that you can do. So we decided to expand this idea of the granular on-chain permissions, put it on proven tech on top of Safe. We're building Troo.ps on top of Safe. And this will unlock a lot more functionality to do on-chain, like not only posting on Lens Protocol, but minting on Zora, playing some on-chain games together with your on-chain club. That's how we call it. That's what we call what a Troo.ps is. Or sharing a DeFi strategy, investing together. Like really, the possibilities are limitless. So we're super excited to see that. And we pretty much announced or made a soft announcement last week. So it's the first time I'm talking publicly about it. Everyone is welcome to join our waitlist. You can go to Troo.ps.
I've seen your recent posts. You are asking people, what's the difference between a community and a club and why? You are doing some marketing research, but can you talk us through why this question? It's quite an interesting question and should be an easy one to answer, but honestly, I don't know the answer. I'm not asking you to answer it, but what's your vision around putting this question out, and what's the reaction of people? What are they replying to you?
Yeah, no, and I'd love to maybe have a conversation about it, guys, because I know you're also involved with a lot of Web3 communities and stuff, and I'd love to hear your take. But in a nutshell, and today I also posted something on Twitter that compared communities and networks, and this is very interesting because if you see a network, it's just like people that are connected to each other, but maybe they don't have any sort of social cohesion, like they don't share like shared values necessarily, but there's still an incentive for them to collaborate. While a community has like more a shared goal, if you want, or like a shared direction that everyone is going to. So that's like a very interesting question, and very related to that is the one that I asked a few days ago. What's the difference between a community and a club? And I think you can draw parallels between what I just said about networks and communities in this context, in which like communities maybe like are a little bit more loose in the sense that compared to clubs, they have maybe a little bit less of social cohesion because they're more inclusive. They just accept everyone. And that's like a super positive thing, of course. But the cool thing that we see about clubs is that the social cohesion is very strong because there's a little bit more of a filter there for people to get in. Like there's like membership involved, and maybe there's also sort of hierarchy involved, and not necessarily like these very strict hierarchies, but like at least giving responsibilities to some people, delegating some roles to some people, actually having more distributed responsibility, which we believe is actually very crucial. Like the communities that we've seen thriving are based more on this idea of having this distribution of roles, and that's how we are translating into our product as well, like with these granular permissions that you can do on chain, and to create more like a sense of responsibility in every member to do stuff together. But I would love to hear your take, guys. What do you think the difference between those are?
Well, it's funny because I actually typed up an answer. I was ready to answer this so definitively because my answer is always a community is people who are mutually invested in each other. That's just like my go-to answer because, you know, it doesn't have to be financially invested. It can be time or anything else. So I thought, wow, then what's a club? A club, in my mind, I was thinking of very loose clubs, like very loose organizations or whatever. So they would be the opposite. And then I just went to ChatGPT just to argue against myself. And it gave super granular, super restrictive, like going the other direction. Like it's not just a community, it's at the other end, super invested, super locked down. I was like, oh yeah, right. There's a whole spectrum there. And it was 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay, I've not thought about the club side of things. I know what a community is, but yeah, clubs, man, there's such a spectrum there.
I think if looking at the main definition, what I have from network, it's more like a financial or some capital goal, or just I want to be here because I want to take something out of it. Community is okay, let's build something together, and I'm talking only about what I've experienced from Web3. Let's build something together with the purpose and the goal, and then let's figure out if we can monetize it. However, as a network, the main focus is first place, let's monetize this shit. And now you came up and you blew my mind with clubs. And honestly, I've already said my takes on what community and network is. And the clubs I know is football clubs, and you are from South America. So I understand the concept and the rewarding around it, because in clubs you've got also membership, you've got passion, you've got also a financial goal, you've got also community. However, you've got even communities within the community, because for instance, in a football club, you don't have only one hooligans club, you've got many of them. For instance, my club, Benfica, we've got 3 or 4 hooligans, or not only hooligans, fans, clubs organized. So maybe it would make sense to look into it on Web3 as a club. And now, to confuse even more, this is called Troo.ps. So why?
I love the name, by the way.
I love it too, because Troo.ps is like, I've never been to the army. I don't know if it's related to army or to just like another kind of stronger community when you don't need to fight only about networking, community, and clubbing, but also to survive. So is this somehow related to it?
Yeah, you're gonna laugh about the origin of the word of the name Troo.ps. So when we were just starting, like doing the financial application to collaborate on an investment portfolio, we were finding words that like encompassed what's something that brings people together. And we were looking at what animals are called when they're together. And when apes are together, it's called a troop. So we thought, okay, amazing.
And what do we do in Web3? We ape in. I love
We
it.
ape in. Exactly. So it really resonated with that idea. And funnily enough, kangaroos also move in troops. And we like the idea of, okay, they have a bag. So that can also be something interesting. But then with the evolution of the product, we realized that there's actually a lot more interesting stuff that we're doing that's related to troops, right? The idea of delegation and like giving responsibilities to different people, and maybe like also giving people some sort of like reputation, like some sort of rank based on how much they've contributed to the community or the club or however, or the troop. Then that's also very relatable. And we also really like the fact that like troops is mostly used in a military context, but it's actually something very positive as well. There's the troops of peace, I think, for example, or like the scouts are also troops. So it's not necessarily like very negative connotation. We wanted to put it in contrast with this kind of playful nature of like how we interact with each other and make ourselves more efficient in a community by delegating roles, giving like a little bit of a hierarchy and stuff like that. So that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, I like that. And it gives people a sense of purpose.
Nico, what about governance? How are you planning to do that with the troops? Are we going to have some kind of hierarchy within the troop? Or is it possible to set it up?
Definitely. That's exactly the idea of troops to allow, and I think this is very important, like to allow the optionality is very important, because if you want to do like a completely flat, no hierarchy DAO, you can do it as well. But I think the benefit of what we're offering is like providing a sort of like very transparent way of delegating permissions and roles to people within the community to perform different actions. And these are mostly on chain, but you can also represent that like in more real world, like giving a workshop, for example, or stuff like that. And one thing that like, that's why we prefer to call them on-chain clubs instead of DAOs, because we believe DAOs are great for like protocol DAOs or these very big DAOs that they need very deep levels of coordination. But we believe that there's like a smaller groups that maybe are not necessarily DAOs, and it's actually making them very inefficient and creates a lot of like friction between the members to call them DAOs. So that's why we prefer to call them clubs, because we believe that for members to be very active, there needs to be, or like for the club or the collective to move forward, there needs to be a sense of accountability, right? Like someone needs to feel, okay, no, this is actually my thing, so I need to push it forward. And that's like lacking in a lot of the communities and DAOs right now. So we believe that by giving people permissions, you're giving people responsibilities as well. And like responsibility always comes with accountability. So like people can carry all these and move it forward, and by moving forward the entire club or troop.
Yeah, and I also can see through your troop website, it's gonna be quite easy process. I see just now your example of how to approve a proposal. You're just going to post something and people will just approve by liking or not the post and the proposal that it's appearing on the feed. It's quite easy to make decisions, so it's going to move businesses, DAOs, clubs, whatever, faster. So I think it's quite important. Does this mean that you also realize that the DAOs timeline sometimes it's like a fucking long process? I've been involved in more than one, and I remember even to post something on Twitter, we were 8 involved in the social media marketing team, and at least 5 would need to approve the post. And I was like, what the fuck? These guys are busy, they're not replying. I'm just gonna go ahead. Hey, you should have not posted this because this and that. And this makes, and it was in Discord, this makes life much easier. And not even for DAOs, I think, not for larger scales, but even I would maybe challenge larger DAOs to use this kind of system, because looking at it would make life much easier and make decisions much faster, so the development of the business will be also much more profitable and evolve quickly towards their goals. So was this something that you have experienced also in the past, and that you and your team have considered that this is a problem that you are trying to solve here?
Totally, Yakuza. Yeah, like you really hit the nail in the
I
head.
suffered.
It's man, we've all suffered it, and we need to solve it, right? Something Vitalik says in his articles about DAOs is we should reduce governance as much as possible, right? Like you don't want to vote for everything all the time. Our approach to it is around delegation and also a different way of how DAOs have been delegating, because DAOs have been delegating votes, but we believe that we should be delegating people. You delegate someone to perform a certain action, and then maybe after 1 quarter you can reassess this and maybe give it to someone else, or it's up to the troop to decide how they're gonna operate. But another really cool thing that we believe is giving an edge to our product is you don't need to decide that the kind of like amount of approvals is the same for every action. For example, collecting an NFT might require 10 approvals, while posting that you collected that NFT might be accessible to everyone. You only need one vote.
Yeah, like leveling up the structure of decisions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the beauty of these granular permissions that developed as a module on top of Safe.
Now the main question, how can we integrate this with Lens?
Well, the thing is, this was a product that came out of LensClubs, right? Like if clubs decide to have it, there will be a button to every post that there is inside the club to be posted on Lens as well, or every proposal that's been decided, you will be able to share it on Lens protocol. I mean, you maybe don't want to have everything posted on Lens because you might need some privacy or something like that, but you definitely should have the optionality to post things on Lens, especially for people to see what's happening, right? Especially the most important things for outsiders to see what's happening inside your troop. So that's kind of like how we do it with Lens Clubs, where you share a Lens protocol profile with your club and then you post it on behalf of the club, and you can give this to anybody inside the troop. You can consider troops as a sort of way to access Lens as well. You can post directly from the application there. So and I imagine in the future you will be able to integrate some sort of feed to see, okay, what kind of people are troop following, and see like a feed of all the people that the troop follows. That's definitely like something we have in mind. And with Lens Clubs, on the other hand, once you delegate the profile, you will be able to post it from any other application that you want. So that will be possible on Lens Clubs. And we're creating the idea of like portable communities, right? Your community can work anywhere. That's why our community stack, where Troops is built on, is open source. So if you decide that like the Troops application really sucks, you can just build another front end and like access this community from other places and like have the same interactions. That's the beauty of being on chain, right? Like we have to exploit that.
And I'm glad that you're building in open source.
What was the first dollar that you made in Web3?
Oh, I'm getting kind of goosebumps for this, but like the first hackathon that I attended was in Ethereum Mexico, and there we hacked something called meritocracy, which was like a way to use governance but like based on merit. So like if you contributed to the DAO, you get points, and then that will be your voting power pretty much. And we hacked this with 5 people that still in contact with, but one of them is actually part of the Troops team, Mel, shout out to him. And we won the best public good on Polygon. So that was like the first buck that I made on Web3.
You won?
Much.
First
Not
one?
counting, yeah. It was like a bounty prize. Yeah.
Wow.
Best public good.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And yeah, the cool thing is that we, after maybe 1 year, almost exactly, we hacked like an evolution of that was like a lot more technical. That's called community bound tokens. And we were ETH Global finalists in Paris with that hack. And that's maybe some alpha of what's coming for Troops as well. So if you go to Troops.lol, you'll be able to see that hack and maybe some alpha of what's going to drop in on Troops soon.
Okay, now my question. What's your favorite beer?
Oh, my favorite beer. Actually, my friend is opening a brewery. It's called Fall Beer in Amsterdam. He's from deep down in Bavaria, and like there are no proper German beers in the Netherlands, so he decided to create a beer. And well, I mean, I'm very biased, but honestly, like his beer, and I've seen other people's faces when they drink it, it's like so good. even for me that I actually like Belgian strong beers, like La Chouffe is probably my favorite. But yeah, I hope that soon you'll be able to try fall beer as well, because it's really, I think you'll love it.
Actually, Ryan is drinking a Stella, so
Oh, nice. Nice,
Yeah, this is
nice.
punishment.
oh, it's a good one. It's a good one. Hopefully, I'll come to Amsterdam before the end of the year. If not, you are more than welcome to come to visit Prague. That's the capital of beer, and yeah, there's a lot of groups and troops here. I was quite surprised when I moved in here. So yeah, I'm more than welcome. If one day you come to Prague, just give me a shout out, and we'll go for some beers
Awesome.
together.
I'll
Or,
definitely
or
do
New
it.
York. Come to New York. I'll show you
I'm
real
going.
beer.
I'm going to New York for ETH New York, so not
I'll see you
like
there. Let's meet up.
let's meet up for sure. Let's drink some beers.
So, Nico, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate the explanations, the clarifications. I love meeting you. I can't wait for next week. We're definitely going to drink. We're going to have a good time. So, thank you very much for being here. Good luck with Troo.ps and Lens Clubs.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking your time. I know that you are quite busy there in Berlin. I know how it works there, and especially for involved in some kind of Web3 event. Thanks for taking the time. Hopefully, you guys will see each other next week and make a video call to me.
Awesome. Thanks. Just wanted to say thank you guys. Like, it's been really a blast. I'm super glad to have lived it with you guys, and like, yes, man, we'll come to Czech Republic as well to have some beers with you.
Thank you guys. Ciao, Nico. Bye. So I want to give away one lens invite, one lens handle invite to one of the attendees. If they want, or if they have someone that will be a good person to have on Lens, that will bring some new content, I'm more than happy to give one of the Lens invites that I have. I've got 2 from my account, and I think we still have 1 or 2 from the show account. So yeah, this is something that maybe we can start to do. The giveaways are not going to be only Lens invites, but today this is the giveaway. So if anyone knows someone that would like to jump in on Lens, after the show I'll make a post, and if you attended the call, drop a comment that you would like to get someone invited, and a brief explanation why this person wants to be on Lens and why we should give it away to this person. We can't offer that much, but it ain't much, but it's honest work. Yeah, that's it. See you next week, guys.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Yo, it was a blast, guys. Thanks.